I was asked to talk a little bit about these projects. It's about transition. We are in that age period now. We are talking about the transition period and about independent living, life skills, and parenting. A lot of the other speakers have touched on this project, these things today, and I'm very glad that they have done it, because I hear that we think the same. We have the same experiences, and we think very much the same. I'm a pediatrician, and I work at this hospital, the Queen Silvia Children's Hospital in Göteborg, and I work with children with 22q11 deletion, and also with rheumatic diseases and immunodeficiency, and of course pediatric, all other things as a pediatricians as we have to do. And I have been working quite many years with 22q11 deletion. I'm not my first patient. This is my first patient I met, and it was 1993. So he's now 21 years old, and he has been transferred now to the adult care. And you see on these pictures that he's just, he's a boy with a lot of interest in his life. And you can see that he is doing things that you might be afraid of allowing your child to do, to driving a motorboat. And when he was at college, he dreamed to be a cook. He's not become that yet, and so we don't know what will happen. Many others of my patients, they are in this age. Some are still studying, some have a job, some have some financial support, some kind of job with financial support, and some are also looking for a job. So we talk about this variation, and of course in this age, young people are doing a lot of things. So we are talking about this period when or adults with 22q11 deletion move into adulthood, and many have used the word challenges. There are very many challenges during this age period. Of course, for everybody, for all youngsters, but even more for those who have 22q11 deletion, as we all know. What are the challenges? What we need for independent living? We need a lot of skills. Many have been talking about it, and I just put some pictures here about academic skills, social, and medical challenges. And I will just talk a little bit more of these things you see on these pictures here. If we talk about the academic challenges, this has been talked about today. We know that almost all youngsters with 22q11 deletion have learning difficulties. And we also know that during this age period, they have increasing demands in school. Many things become more difficult because the tasks are difficult, and they have more tasks. And Jacob described this very well on his diagram. And at this age also they have to choose some program at school. They have to choose some path in life. Before, everybody is doing the same at school, but here you have to choose something, some program. And this program, or the start here, can already be some training for some job. So here we have to think about not only the weaknesses. We have been talking about that they have a lot of problems, but what is more important maybe is to think about the strengths and the interests, and to discuss this with your child, and to set goals and be realistic. And I would say start early here, because I think that is better to try to find some path that is suited, that suits your child or your daughter. It may be not be the right one, because maybe you have to try many paths. You don't know at this age really what you want to do. And what Carmen talked about very much is about the self-confidence and self-esteem, and I feel that it's very important that we talk about this and that we try to support the children to increase their self-confidence and self-esteem. And I don't think I have to talk more about it because you did that very well, Carmen. So after high school, when we finish high school in Sweden, it's around the age of 18. But these youngsters with 22q11 deletion, they have not all finished high school at that age. But often they may need more years. Some go in the normal school, some go in school for children who need special support. But here we need to, but if they finish, they have to think what to do next. Shall I try to find some job? Most people, it's not like on the picture in the right, it's the Princess Victoria, the Princess of Sweden. She did not have to choose any job. It was already chosen for her before she was born. But that's not the case for most of us others. In the middle, I have a girl, she may be quite tired of all this struggle in school, and many, even children without learning disabilities, want to have some break and do something else. Or you can maybe at that time think, I would like to be a photographer, or work at a farm, or doing something else. When I was preparing for this talk, I found a booklet that is very good, and you can see it on the picture, and I also have it here. It is from Max Appeal, and it's, as you see, it's called Climb a Mountain and Reach for the Stars by Michelle. Where's mine? This is I really recommend this, because you can find it on the internet, so you don't have to have this booklet. And this is a guide to setting life goals and finding a job, and it's very encouraging. And it's written for young adults with 22q11 deletion. And the information in this booklet will help those who have the deletion to organize their thoughts and give them the basic skills and help to lead a fulfilling life and find a job. So it's really very good. The social challenges, we have been talking about it. There are so many social challenges for everybody at this age, but even more for those who have some kind of difficulties. The first picture and my first word here is friends. That's maybe not a problem or not a challenge for many, but I feel quite sad when I meet my patients and some of them don't have any friends. So I think that's something we should think about and really should do during these years. Is there anything we can do to help them if they don't have any friends? What can we do? Maybe I, as a doctor, can do something also, because there are some camps or something where they can meet other young teens in the same age. I think this is important. And also it's important and very good to have a hobby. I have put on a picture of golf clubs, not because I like to play golf, but because one of my patients is really very good, a good golf player, and with a severe handicap, so they can do a lot of things. Many like to work with animals, horses, and we know all that many are good at some kind of arts, of painting and music. Many have been talking about it. And as Anne-Svela said, there are some sports that they don't fit so well. So maybe here we have to also help them to make it possible for them to do what they want to. For example, I can maybe help as a doctor. I have written many certificates to help them with financial support. And so there are things we can work on together. And then to the question which many parents ask often very early, will my child be able to live on his own when he's an adult, and where to live and when to do that. Also, as somebody said here, it was Bassett, that many are living with their parents for quite many years, so they don't have to move from the parents' house when they are 20 or 21, as many people do in Sweden. I know it's different in other countries. But also here there might be some support, and they may need support to live by their own, and the health services can maybe even give some help here. And we have been talking about householding, and if you live by yourself, you have to buy, as Julie Watton told what they did in a group. You need to buy food, you need to learn to cook, you need to do the cleaning of the house and the washing. And for doing all this, you need a lot of organizing. And we know that is also a problem, that is the planning and organizing. So what can we do to help here? I think what they have been talking about, to have some kind of meetings, groups, some kind of training, that we need to train even more than we have to train our other children. I have raised 3 boys, they are now young men, and sometimes especially the boys, don't need to do anything at home. The mothers do everything for them, wash their clothes and cook the food, and please, here you have your things. But if they are not allowed to participate with us in the householding, they will not get the skills. So please allow them to be with you in these work tasks at home. Economy, money. We know that some of them really have problem with understanding money. So, but not all. So they may need some help when they live on their own. Sometimes also the health service system has, in Sweden, you can have so-called good man. That's the person who can help you with the economy. If you have a disability, you can have the rights to get this kind of help. We have been talking about driving license, and that's absolutely not impossible to drive a car, and Anne told us that many are driving a truck even. I would never dare to do that myself. And we've been talking about communication. We know that communication often it's not so easy for many. So maybe we can train them in some, or give them some assistance, because we cannot train and make everything normal. We know that they have their problems, but we can do something to make it more easy. And Sheila has been talking about the computer, because most of them really like computers, and they are very good. Some experience here from Sweden. We have a place called Ågrenska. It's on an island on the west coast of Sweden. And on this island, they often have families with rare diseases. And the families, about 10 families, come together, and we have information about the disease and about the health service system. And even not only for the family, but also for personnel who are working with the kids or the youngsters, and even for the siblings, there is a program. But sometimes we also have family camps only for young people with the diagnosis, and this is some experiences from one of these weeks. There are not many persons, and most of those got the diagnosis late, not when they were kids. So how was the situation for those? Many of them had part-time job. They were not able to work full-time. It was just those 10. And many of them needed help with financial help with economy. And they all felt they had limited resistance to stress. Others have also been talking about this. They had problem with memory and receiving information, and the fact that they had fine motor problems, and many had physical problems, fatigue, pain problem. These are adults. So many of the physical problems we are talking about are not, they have not disappeared when they are adults. Sometimes there are some new problems that come more. For example, some have really problem with pain and so things like this. It's because of things like this that they can often are not able to work full-time job. But in spite of these problems, many can handle the practical life quite well. And some words from one of those who were attended this week said, "Now I know myself better and I accept my disease." And that's important because knowledge about the disease and to be able to talk about it and talk about the support and what you can do to make life more easy, it helps, it really helps. So if there are any camps or things like that in your country, I think really you should encourage your son or your daughter to participate. And even the family organizations do have family camps in many countries, and we also do that in Sweden. So now we come to the medical challenges for independent living. And this is a case history from the paper that we have been talking about, from the guidelines paper. Lastly, despite numerous medical, academic and social challenges, he participates in assisted athletics, is an avid wrestling fan and enjoys travel. However, his exceptionally supportive parents, siblings and extended family continue to worry about his long-term outcome and transition of care as he approaches adulthood. And this is something that I think very many parents are worried about when their children and the teens, youngsters are reaching the age of 18 or something, what the age is in your country, when you stop to have follow-up care at Children's Hospital and you go to an adult clinic. And there are not so many countries that have this kind of clinic that Ambassador talks about. There are really experts who take care of all things, the problems the adults have. So why are they worried? This is a sketch that one of the mothers wrote. You can see, you cannot read it, but it's about all the contacts she has because of the child. The contacts because of different medical problems and because of school. And you see, so this means that you parents, you have a lot to do. You have really much work, extra work with your children. So I will talk a little bit about this transition. Transition of when you stop the following at the Children's Hospital and go to the adult doctor. And there's some things that is written from the primary immunodeficiency organizations. Some advice or some things to think about during this process, because this is not something that is happening just during one day or one moment. It has to take time. And even if those children don't have a disability, I think it's something that we can think about also for these children. Support your children to progressively take over the responsibility for their own treatment. Be prepared with questions for the healthcare visit. We can train, and you can train your children during this process, and encourage them to ask their own questions during the visit. They don't often dare to ask questions, so you have to encourage them to do that. And the last, which maybe is even more difficult for you because there is such a bonding when you have a child with a disability, take a step back and let the youngsters have their own communication with the medical staff. This time will come, so you cannot always be beside your child, or So this is something that has to happen. So what can you do? One of the mothers, she wanted to train her daughter and to help her to go by herself to her doctor. And she was coming to me, and when she came, she had this a paper, an A4 paper, and you can see what this is. I received the following information. I have been prescribed if there was some kind of medicine. Is the medicine to purchase at the pharmacy? Or when is the next visit? And who was it who informed? So we know that they often have problem with the memory. What was it that happened? What did he say? Well, he didn't say anything. That was not so much. So this helps. So when she came home, they discussed this together. And here is also some things that is written also from an association which is also on the website for sick children. And this is about the rights of young adults or when in the transfer process. They have the right to continuity. If they have a chronic disease, they have a right to be followed if they have a functional disability, they need ongoing care. They have the right to continuity in health service, and they have rights to participate in this preparation and to have the right information and to cooperate in this process, and also that we respect them and their integrity, and they also have rights to be followed by qualified personnel. And something to your parents. We are talking about parenting, and I was recently at a meeting in Iceland, also organized by patient family organizations, and there was one mother. She's also a doctor, and she has a daughter with a chronic disease, and she allowed me to use what she said, her thoughts, and I found that was very good. She said, find out how you get new energy. It's very important when you have such a load, it's often difficult that you think about yourself. Find out how you can reduce concern and how to relieve. Find out how to care and how to support, and who can support you. You are not alone, and you can get support, so it's important that you receive support and create a space for yourself where you get charged. Do something. It can be different thing. It's something that you can do that you choose. It can be running, it can be working in the garden, it can be go to cinema. There are a lot of things, just you choose it yourself. And do something good for yourself and do it often. I think that's important. And the last slide, you are not alone. You are not alone here. You are together, many families. And that's very important. We have been talking about that the family organizations can do a lot to support each other. And here we have these kind of meetings every year in Sweden, where we meet and have information, and they just meet and support each other. And also, as you see in the picture in the middle, there are mothers who go to a restaurant and just meet together and talk. And on the picture on the right, we have a grandmother who also is very supportive. So I think also we should not forget to think about the grandparents or other relatives, that they are very important also when you have a child with disability and you feel that you need to have some help. So thank you very much.